recording stopped though now.
Oh, they're playing.
Now it's recording.
Dueling recording.
Who can even tell?
Hit it. Hit it.
Don't hit it. Be nice. Be nice.
Wait, my iPad turned off. As if I don't know.
This is a great intro. This catches all the people who are like, yeah, what, this is a car podcast?
Yeah, like they're so disorganized.
Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of Lemma Champ or Lucky Track Dog League you run, SCC or NASA, we won't discriminate, as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussion, tips, tricks, news and notes in the world of amateur endurance racing, and whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough. And Chrissy gives us just the tip. We're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mental.
And we are Everyone Racers. Thanks for listening to a Fibonacci sequence episode of our podcast.
Ooh.
It is episode 233. So even if you're not working on mathematical theorems, you can still load up your E1R bingo card. But even if you are working on mathematical theorems, bingo card doesn't take much brain power at all.
This is terrible. In the main part of the show, I'm going to do some math, and it's going to piss off all the people who can do real math. So,
and if you get the bingo card with that Fibonacci, like, take a picture of it and send it to us, because that would just be weird.
Yep.
That would be weird.
It is weird. Just like the show.
Oh.
Jeff, what are you working on?
You know, it'd be weird if I didn't say I've been working too much.
It's true. Well, then,
or if you were going to work on a car, that would also be weird.
Since I last spoke to you, I have been at Scouts and at work, and there really hasn't been anything else. I come home, I sleep, I go right back. So, we took the Scouts to a train museum, and I nerded out about all the engineering things, like engineering and driving trains, and it was fantastic. But that was it. There's nothing.
Cool.
No work.
233 episodes, and Jeff finally gets to use engineer in the sense that he has always wanted to.
That's right. Driving trains.
There
were some really cool trains. The Pennsylvania Train Museum down there in Lancaster is actually pretty fantastic. And if you're in the area, I suggest you go.
Did you just go to just the train museum? It was like your trip was drive to central Pennsylvania, look at some trains, and then go home?
Oh, no. We were camping. We were camping all weekend.
Oh.
Historic
yes.
trains.
Well, I mean,
yes.
Sure, but... still.
Yes. And they made all kinds of Amish jokes while they were going on the train. And we saw red foxes playing with each other in a field. And
they call you dummy and wonder where Lamont was.
Exactly. He told me to wash my ass and everything.
Yep.
Old people are laughing.
Exactly. Yeah.
I said, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, somebody who actually did some work. What are you working on? Chrissy?
No, didn't do any work. I spent the weekend with family. So I saw my parents and my sister and the nephews on Friday on Saturday. And then went to a trampoline park on Sunday with my best friend, Allison, and her children. It was so much fun. Oh my gosh. I might be
Allison's
a little
fantastic.
bit.
I love Allison. Say
Yes,
hi next time you see her.
I will. And that trampoline parks are the best. You should go. They are.
I would pay to see that.
Fine.
I remember the Simpsons episode it was the trampoline and Velcro museum, where all the kids were in Velcro and they would just fall and bounce back to the roof and sit there and cry.
and wait till they peeled off. Totally. I kind of did that. I didn't get too hurt. I did get hurt. And
did you have to buy socks?
So I did not, because they had already bought socks because they've been before. So I borrowed a pair.
Okay. For those of you who have never been to a trampoline park, you must wear the socks. It is like bowling shoes. If you don't have them, you must buy them because they don't want them back.
It's true. That's fine. And then you
own
the
bowling shoes. Yeah. Bowling shoes they want back.
It's true. Yeah, and these are socks. You bring them home, you wash them, and then if they're a family of 4, and her husband didn't come, and I did, and so I used his socks. All good, unless the kids. When you buy kids socks, then they grow out of them. So once they don't fit, you're just like, just suck it up. Just
My
keep
local,
wearing.
local trampoline park, Ryobi green is the color of the socks.
Mm-hmm. This place has multiple colors, but they have consistent. So you're pretty easy to figure out if you have them on or not. Anyway, had a great time. Mental, you did something much more productive than I did. What'd you do?
I ran the Vegas hashtag Strip at Night half marathon.
How'd it go?
Yay.
Here's the medal.
Yay.
Nice.
I met my goal of under 2 hours, and I wanted to run sub 10 minutes. I averaged exactly 10-minute miles, and it was 2 hours and 11 minutes.
Well done.
That's
fantastic.
time on that one, but yeah, so that was good. UPS, of course, business partner of the Rock and Roll Marathon Series, would like to make a suggestion. UPS, reverse the alphabetical order, because every time I get done with one of these Rock and Roll marathons, I've got to walk another mile to the W truck, which is always the last truck, to get my stuff. Just once. I want to see the A's have to walk to get their crap.
No way. We're used to being first. Come on. That was always the most annoying thing.
I feel you. Mental.
Right?
Yeah.
No
way. For you guys.
Chris Abbott is basically always the first person in line, especially when we check in for lemons.
Which is probably why he did really good in school. And meanwhile, I'm in the back corner, can't hear what the teacher's saying half the time. I also am down one Toyota.
All right.
The truck is gone. Went to a guy who apparently doesn't like his dad very much, because him and his dad are going to fix it up. And he was honest about it. He says, and by me and my dad's going to do most of the work. And then the 928 tried to kill me while I was driving it to
I
work.
saw that.
Yeah. And I fixed it and tried to kill me again. So now it's on eBay, because screw you, Porsche. You only get 2 shots at me. So
it didn't just try and kill you. It tried to kill your entire family, your dogs, and burn your house down all at the same time.
Well, it was doing it before I got home. So yeah.
So it was doing it on the road. I thought that was in the garage driveway.
Well, that was me trying to figure out what the hell it was doing. So
why don't you explain it for those of you?
Yeah, if you didn't see the video.
Yeah. It's a high pressure fuel system, and it's a nest of them under the very pretty but complicated intake of a 928 V8. And I noticed I was smelling gas, seeing a little bit of smoke, driving home, pulled over, didn't see anything. And by the time I got home, I noticed I was down a quarter of a tank. My drive is only 12 miles. And then I saw the puddle of gasoline under the car. So I turned everything off and rolled the car up underneath it. It was leaking down from the top of the engine, over the exhaust manifolds, over all the electronics. Using my phone, I would hit the pump to get it going and try and find out where the hell the leak was coming from, and just turn it right back off. So I had a couple of suspicions. And when I found it, I posted the internet video, which Jeff was like, why are you filming it, not fixing it? Because I was using the film to find out where it was. So I didn't have to have fuel running while I got out of the car and found out what was going on.
For those of you who heard the word leak, that's a bit of a misnomer. It was a shower, a hosing. Yeah, it was a lot of
fuel. So I found that, got up underneath there, actually repaired it immediately. This was at 10 o'clock on Saturday night. It immediately made a worse one. So at 10:45 Saturday night, I posted an eBay listing. It has now had over 2,500 views. It has made the rounds on Renlist and a couple other forums, because and there's a link in the show notes, because screw you, Porsche, you can go try and kill somebody else. I've got enough cars trying to kill me. So that's what I did. And if you guys want to read my dissertation on why you shouldn't buy my Porsche, and apparently somebody's trying to buy it anyway. So
someone will be stupid and buy it. Yep.
And I have gotten multiple compliments on no one can say you misled them, because I say, don't buy this car.
That's about right.
Good. So Chris, how is the world's most reluctant toy salesman doing?
Well, I've actually got everything prepared, cleaned, back together. Like I spent a week just playing with Legos, and Chrissy is so tired of hearing the noise of the swish around in the box of Legos looking for the one piece. Everyone knows that sound. Right?
So much. A full box, like copy box worth of over. I'm sitting here reading a book and I'm like, it's just so, and he has headphones in, so he doesn't realize how loud it is. He just
the reason I had headphones.
Yes.
It's like the episode when you were rebuilding the Honda and you were just like rolling around in the bolts bin during the episode.
Yeah, pretty much.
When I lived in Germany, my upstairs neighbor had a 4 or 5 year old, and he had like the giant 5-gallon bucket.
Yes.
And that was my alarm every Saturday morning. And I couldn't be mad because he's a kid, but it was the sound of that bucket of Legos being dumped out one floor above me.
This starts at 2 because this is what Henry does when he comes over. And I kept sending the videos of Chris digging to the sister and said, what's going on at your house? Because this is what's going on at my house.
So everything is together as it can be. That's anything that's big enough worth putting together. Everything is up on eBay. Some things have sold. I'm down to 38 things for sale now. Total amount sold, aside from the Citroen, is around $5,000.
Wow.
Toys.
That's crazy.
Toys and car parts.
You could buy 2 spiteful murder 928s for that kind of money.
Well, that includes some car parts too. Like I sold a couple $100 worth of interior parts off the Civic. I sold those random Alfa Romeo cylinder heads I had for $100 each. Things like that. But yeah, it's been a good eBay time. I've been happy, except for people on eBay are annoying. But anyway, I'm in wiring hell. Otherwise, trying to get the Civic together, because the car previously had a case swap in it. And I won't go into the nitty gritty details of the case swaps, but there's basically 2 different versions of wiring. There's the early and the late. The car had a conversion harness for the early style. We have the late style. I have to convert it. The conversion harness that was in it is wonderful in that every single wire in the harness is blue.
Oh,
so they're all blue.
Oh no,
it's all
that's
blue.
not good.
So I have to figure out, like right now I'm at a point of, I'm down to one connector that connects it's the car side of the conversion harness that connects the engine. And there's a couple wires that I go, this I don't think should be here. And so now I'm going to have to put multimeter in one, ohm it out to the others, but touching every pin until I find which one it is to reverse source if it's the right thing. Anyway, it's been a challenge. Also unhacking a couple of things done by a previous owner when wire tucking. But just in general, all the things to mate an 07 TSX motor to an 05 RSX wiring harness to an 03 element ECU to a 93 base model Civic chassis, plus the race car stuff like gauges. That's coming along next after this. But I don't want to try to start the car until I have gauges, because I want to make sure I have oil pressure stuff. But
yeah, mental is a really good way to tell if you have fuel pressure.
Yeah, I saw that. That's excellent.
Yeah.
I did take out the ignition lock. I had the steering column halfway off, so I figured out how to pull the lock part while leaving the ignition lock. The cylinder is still on, so it still operates with the key and all that normally. But the lock thing that happens when the key is out, took that out just because that seems like a nice thing for racing to not have the steering column lock.
Yep.
Aren't there some sanctioning bodies that require the steering lock to be out?
Probably, but the odds of them looking for it,
Sure.
And it's
like
one of those
0.
things, because if it locks, you can't sue them because you broke their rules, blah, 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 blah. But yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in there. It was easy. Drill a hole in this thing, pull the spring out, and then it's out. So
Yeah.
Much.
I actually did turn off the Civic in turn 1 at New Hampshire once. Don't ask me how. Turned the key backwards. I don't know exactly what was happening. My hand flailed the wrong direction.
All right. Well, now you won't be able to lock the steering wheel. So
No, the steering wheel didn't lock. It just literally the key turned backwards. I think that was when we had the screwdriver, maybe.
That's even
side.
harder.
No,
It's very
Over
hard.
on the left, and
No, it wasn't.
The screwdriver was an answer to that problem.
Yeah.
Because
Also
it was.
easier.
Yeah, because
I
didn't
think-
the key get misplaced or something?
no, we took
Well,
off
it's less
the ignition.
stress.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
We're
I
like,
hit
who's going to
this-
steal this thing? Especially that you have to turn a screwdriver JB welded into the stock ignition
Yeah.
switch,
I
mounted
think
on the left like a Porsche.
Yeah. I think I hit the string between the key and the
That probably and the kill
power.
switch.
I think that's
yeah,
what it was.
could
Yeah.
be.
Anyway, are we ready for news and notes?
We are.
News and notes time.
Ooh, Jeff's been taking singing lessons.
I haven't. We're preparing to go see Hamilton with my son next week.
Ooh.
Weekly, we tend to cite Jalopnik articles because they're fun and easy to find and everything for our news and notes section. But we're going to be talking about Jalopnik, but we're not citing an article, not right now. Because the day before we recording, Tuesday, about 100 writers and content producers at the website for all of the Jalopnik parent company, Gizmodo, Jezebel, and all the other websites, basically went on strike. Gizmodo Media Group's union contract expired at midnight. The newsroom workers for The Root, Lifehacker, Kotaku, I don't know how to pronounce that one. I read that one every now and then. And of course, Jalopnik are picketing outside Geo Media's office. Known, what is that? Known Herb and Gawker Media CEO. I don't know what Herb is.
Oh, Jim Spangfeller is an herb. Everyone knows it. Jim Spangfeller knows it. He's an herb.
Got it. Well, he is the Gawker Media CEO, and he said he was, quote, disappointed that contract terms could not be reached before, quote, the union voted to cut off talks and strike. So GMG Union is the first digital media union, and in a statement, they said now GMG Union will break ground yet again. We are the first digital media shop to go on an open-ended strike for a fair contract. Following a unanimous vote, there has been no new post on Jalopnik since Monday, and the union is asking folks not to visit, support, or contribute to any of the Gizmodo sites. Ooh, there it is.
Okay.
Interesting.
Can't say I'm
Link
much of a
in the
fan,
show
except-
notes, but not to.
Yeah, except for
Exactly, but
Bradley's
not
stuff,
Don't go there.
but-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and Brad's done. Brad, Brad ain't crossing the picket line. You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brad's
I'll-
the only reason
Yeah.
to go to that site as far
Well,
as I'm
I
concerned.
liked Rory Carroll, but yeah, but you're right. You're absolutely right.
Well, and we have friends who have worked for Gawker, who were on our race team and did not have a great. That was pre Hulk Hogan time, so I know it's a bit different of a company, but yeah. Anyway, keep going.
Okay. Well, you need to pour out a little .5 brake fluid for the exotics, but not for the Volkswagens, because the Felicity Ace cargo ship that caught fire and filled with Volkswagens, Porsches, and Lamborghinis has sunk to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. And from what I've heard, it's sunk in a spot that is about 9,000 feet deep.
Not a
So-
problem. Not a
Right.
problem.
That's
Wow.
easy, right? No problem salvaging that. So the ship caught fire 2 weeks ago. Then it was adrift. Then it kind of got rescued. They kind of sort of put the fire out enough, and the ship was being towed. And about 250 miles off the coast of the Azores, it started to list, and then it got eaten by the Kraken,
Wow.
basically. So if you're waiting for your sick new GT3 or your Aventador, it's going to be a little longer. So, quote, we are already working to replace every car affected by this incident, and the first new cars built will be soon, said Angus Fitton, Vice President of PR at Porsche Cars North America, as he told the Associated Press in an email.
It will be soon. That's
Yeah.
vague or not anything.
Very
Yes,
good
Jeff.
German PR answer. Engineering, they're precise. PR,
Soon.
We're going to make them sometime.
Lemons, folks. If you don't have a theme for your Volkswagen, Audi, basically any German,
Tom,
doesn't even
this is
need
your
to be
IOE,
German.
Tom, this
you
is,
need to be retheming right now.
you have
Yeah,
an Italian car and a Volkswagen, Tom.
Well, everyone with a Volkswagen has wanted to set it on fire, so they understand. Like,
I don't
throw
think
it-
you have to limit it to the cars that were on the
Yeah.
boat.
And throw it to the bottom of the
it's not
ocean.
funny
Yeah.
if you do it on a Toyota, and it's like, what is that? That
What, are you just
doesn't
going
make
to have it on fire and then sink?
I don't.
No, I was
don't
thinking
know.
more
It's
of
not a
like
funny
the-
theme.
The
You could also turn your Toyota into the Felicity Ace.
Right.
And
That's
glue
what I'm
a bunch
getting
of
at.
models on it, and then
Okay.
Or your
Yes.
Honda
Set those on fire.
Odyssey that was already done up as a cargo ship.
This is
that
exactly
brought
what I
Suez
was
Canal,
getting
yeah.
at. Yes.
Chrissy
yes,
knows. Chrissy knows. She
That's what I
gets
was
it.
getting at. Okay. Anyway, BMWs are boring as amateur
Boring.
endurance, boring
Boring.
endurance race cars. It is the easy button that requires no imagination. But there is a reason BMWs are the easy button, and now they have applied that skill to their newest EV. Dan Edmonds at Car and Driver tells us that the 2022 BMW i4 M50, and they call it the EV M3, which is misleading because this new electric 4 Series outruns an M3 competition to 60 miles an hour, costs less. Brushless dual electric motors are more environmentally friendly because they don't use rare earth magnets. They also make a combined 536 horsepower and 586 foot-pounds of torque, enough to put an i4 to 60 miles an hour in 3.3 seconds, get over 100 miles in 8 seconds, and cover a quarter mile in 11.7 seconds at 120 miles an hour. Base price is a hair under $67,000, and that is before the tax credits. Link
Not a
in the
bad
notes.
price.
No, for something that
Not at all.
brutally fast, and you get tax credits for it.
Well, for a full EVs are very expensive, and put BMW on top of it with what I'm sure is a very fine interior, and yeah, I got no problem with that price.
Now, finally, in news that only Mental cares about, Dustin Kroll at the entertainment website Deadline is giving early details about famed director Steven Spielberg's latest project. Spielberg, widely known for his acting role in the Blues Brothers and occasionally directing and producing some minor films to a little bit of acclaim, has secured the rights to the character Frank Bullitt. This character was made famous by Steve McQueen in the 1968 film Bullitt. Anyone of a certain age just perked up a little bit right now. Sources tell the website that this film will be an original sequel centered on the iconic character from the 1968 thriller, not a remake. Steven Spielberg's first full-length, although it was made for television, film was Duel, which was a Dennis Weaver car chase classic film. Now, if you combine that with the fact that Chad McQueen, his son, and Molly McQueen, his granddaughter, have both signed on to executively produce this film, I have very high hopes.
I saw this article and totally thought of you. I was like, I didn't even read your notes. I saw it on Facebook and I was like, oh my gosh, Metal's going to be so excited. And I completely forgot about it because I don't care. And I should have added this to news and notes, but you already had it. So yes, everybody that's not watching on YouTube just missed the little dance that you did. So just making sure we were talking about that. So are you excited? I can't tell.
I'm excited, and I'm
are
not
you?
mental. Yeah, absolutely. This is a great movie. Actually, I'm going to say that this is a great second half of a movie. The first half of the movie is
the movie is actually terrible and has giant plot holes in it. It's well acted, but they just miss certain sequences.
The mystery and the cop part of the show is not great. The second half of the movie is a prolonged car chase, and it's fantastic.
Absolutely. And has Porsche in it too. Later, but it's not part of the car chase. But yeah. And a couple of the websites that I saw it on were making snarky comments about whether or not the same Blue Beetle was going to be in 14 different scenes. But again, car chase connoisseurs got that joke.
Nice. What else we got?
It is time for us to move to our sponsors section because, as you well know, RacingJunk is the official media partner of the Everyone Races podcast and our official classifieds.
And we're going to talk about the Lemon Southern Fried Heat Rally in just a second. In addition to all the scams you see on Facebook, you can find other cars for the rallies at RacingJunk. Like, you're not going to see the I'm selling this for my sister, or I'm in the military, no running, no title, Manuel transmission, no wheels. I know what I got. So let's
bring
look at the
your
normal
own
cars.
wheels is the worst thing to put on an ad. If it says bring your own wheels, I'm like, if I had wheels, I probably owned the car.
And they're not there's like any kind. Like you have
to
know
get some universal wheels. You see those?
That's
They're universal. It's amazing.
Oh no.
I don't know how that happens.
Exactly.
And Anyway,
Oh,
yeah, so we're going to talk about getting your next rally car, your next gambler car. You could play it safe. Just across the river over in Maryland, there's a Honda Civic for a mere $1,300. Mental is sharing it right now. It is an '05. The ABS light is on. Somebody stole the catalytic converter. But this is Crap Can Rally Gold. It says it needs a catalytic converter and an oxygen sensor. So probably it still has it. It's just,
It's also sold by
working.
Ant Girl. Just saying.
What's wrong with that? Look,
I don't know.
Well, here's the deal. If you try and buy something off of Racing Junk, you know it's coming from someone who's into racing. So it's probably enthusiast owned. Brandywine, Maryland. Check it out. 2005 Honda Civic.
Or my option, go creepy or just go home with this 1995 Dodge work van. It's screaming yellow, runs, and has windows, so you're not going to get arrested right away. You're just going to get the hairy eyeball anytime you drive it near a playground.
Lower it. Dodgy band theme. Done.
That
It's got
actually is
ladder
pretty
racks.
good. It does,
Ladder
and
racks are
and this
cool.
one, these people paid for the premium ad, so you can see the discolored doors in the back.
Oh,
Boom,
That's a feature.
It is
Oh,
whole
somebody-
open cargo area
I
for the
think
motorcycle that you bring with you. When
Oh,
this
I
thing-
was thinking to you. I was
More
thinking
bodies.
somebody- Yeah, more. That's what I was getting at.
With this van, you won't have to pay for a hotel room.
Oh,
Sleep in the back.
Facilitate your van life dreams.
Actually,
You're-
and that's legit. If you're looking to build one of these van lives, you want to pay 20 grand for a Mercedes, man. Dude, there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, and then
this
be
is a good-
creepy while you're at it. That sounds great.
No,
Okay.
it's-
Oh,
Dave
it's-
Mills would live in this for a year.
Okay. It's
not
not
helping.
gonna it's not gonna get you a whole lot of rally points, but make friends in the rolling up in this 2002 Dodge Ram 4x4 because it's you're probably gonna have to haul some broken heaps, and for the other teams, it might be you make some
Oh.
friends, bring some stuff,
Yeah.
have it
The
tarp.
rust covered in bits of terrible sheet metal.
Yeah,
rattle
can we
can
go
blue
back?
at night? Is
Yeah. We have to go back to
Tragic.
those homemade fender flares.
Oh,
Yeah,
but
especially the
he's
front
up.
one. Whew.
If you read the ad, because it is Racing Junk and it's none of this I know what I got crap. The guy's straight honest about it. He goes, Rusty 4x4, bring cash. Don't want to be dealing with you. And also paid for the
Oh.
premium ad because he's got more than one thing. So,
All right. And you know what? Don't get that rusty crap. Do it for Dale Jr. with an 01 Monte Carlo SS from Jacksonville, Florida. Yes, this is the front drive V6 automatic. Terrible, terrible car. Only $2,500. Trunk
you
opens
know,
with
Rude,
a key.
you know, Rude and Stobbs are going to love this thing.
Oh yeah, of
And
course.
it says that in the ad. I just thought that was hilarious.
It is an SS.
It is an SS.
Yeah.
Does it really have the V6? Because I thought the SS had the 8.
No. That's
No.
that's so did every hick that bought one and thinks
Right.
oh, it's an
They had
SS,
one
it's
made
gotta be-
special.
Yeah.
You're
nope.
thinking of the front wheel drive Impala that had that one very rare generation front wheel drive version of the LS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which also they made in a Grand Prix that actually from the factory had reverse stagger tires on it. The fronts were wider than the rears
Really?
from GM.
A
And
Grand Prix.
A V8 front drive Grand Prix with a reverse stagger tires.
Mhm.
Very rare bird.
Eh? Oh, God.
Oh wait, no,
You'll
I'm
have
sorry.
to watch this on YouTube.
I failed to open yours. Sorry, I'm a terrible host here. Let me stop sharing and bring this back up because this yours is really cool.
Okay.
I don't know.
So Eric, you all know Eric Rude. He used to write for Roadkill magazine. So this father and son swapped 351 V8 powered fucking Ford Ranger.
Ford fucking Ranger.
I don't need a truck. I know
ain't no stranger.
Ranger. I'm waiting for the picture to show up.
I'm sorry, my
Okay,
internet.
it's getting
is
there.
terrible.
It's getting there.
It's also because you have 85 windows open. I can only judge because you're
There.
sharing screens.
Yes. Exactly.
Anyway, I'll finish. It also has. Wait, sorry.
It was purpose built for the duct tape drags.
Oh, really? There it
Yes.
is.
What it says.
It's going to score massive points with Rude because he worked with the duct tape drags. The hood mural and straight exhaust is included, but he did not pay for an ad, so we cannot see what the mural is. It looks like a nighttime starscape.
It's like a desert
It's
sunset.
Mountains. Yeah.
Exactly, because it's in Arizona. It is totally the orb. What were the skies like when you were younger? They were yellow and red.
Oh,
and
little
green.
fluffy clouds.
Little fluffy clouds. Exactly.
It looked
See?
like it went to the roof too. It looked like the same.
Or finally, you just kind of quit screwing around here and you get this guy and you go gambling with a 1998 Honda Civic. It's lifted. It's got a skunk two header on it. And it's got a full exhaust. The guy even says it sounds good. It actually did some, the builder did some smart preventative work. It's got some hubs and a water pump and a tune up and all the stuff, in addition to the LED pods and the 52-inch LED light bar across the roof. And of course, it could not be an off-roader without a roof basket. And it is merely $3,000. And I got to tell you, she's a beaut, Jim.
I like it. Dark
All
green
right.
is not a color you see on Civics very often.
Unless it's 1997 and then half of them were
Yeah. All the SIs were blue. All of the Civics were green.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
But that's the point, is if you're looking for dumb ideas, don't just go to Racing Junk for good ideas. Go to Racing Junk for bad ideas too. Deal with some
None
actual
of these are
people.
bad.
Okay.
Okay.
Chrissy.
All right. Upcoming races.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, usually you
yeah.
do the transitions. That's
Oh,
what
no. I was like, I'm ready for my
Sorry.
part.
Anyway, Champ Car is running the Oak Tree 12-hour at VIR South, which VIR is wonderful, but South course only, like sad trombone, you poor people.
Wah, wah.
Which is probably why a VIR event only has 34 cars.
The trombone.
8 of those 34 cars are BMWs, which is
Boring.
boring. Say
Exactly.
South course again.
South course VIR. Yep, it's about right. 10 Miatas, 1 Honda, 1 Porsche, and a Hyundai Elantra from Pickleboy Motorsports. And that guy has actually been cataloging his build on the GRM build form. He's very,
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's totally just a guy doing the best he can. Sasha built the cage in that car, actually, which however you feel about
It's
that.
not frightening at all.
Yeah.
Sasha can do
okay.
good work when he
He
wants to.
can. He
Sure.
absolutely can.
Yep.
He just doesn't value his life very much. Or I should say his weekend. His cages are usually okay. He just then cuts the car in half and never mind.
Yeah.
WRL is going to be at the beautiful Barber Motorsports Park this weekend. The World Racing League is now sponsored by Haggerty, and as such moved their registration to motorsports.reg. Ronald Till was recently on the SCCA podcast boldly talking about how the current race licensing process is broken and antiquated. That's interesting. Little shots fired. But for Barber, they have 64 cars, 30 BMWs,
Oh,
Boring.
oh, it's killer.
2 Miatas, a 2017 Honda Civic Si, HPT. What is HPT?
It's like a turnkey racer, basically.
High
on the track.
powered turbo.
I never heard of an HPT.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Turtle. It's a high powered turtle.
23 Porsches and a 2000 Pontiac Formula convertible. Dale be praised.
Before you start yelling at your radio, Donnie, I did the research because I wanted to know how rare this was. And I know GM didn't make a 2000 Formula convertible, but that's what it says on the entry list.
Oh, okay.
We're only playing by what the information that is provided.
The BMW to Miata ratio is really bizarre here.
Yeah.
30 BMWs, 2 Miatas.
Well,
What
and
else is-
I'm almost
Porsches?
willing.
No.
I'm willing to give WRL a pass because
23 Porsches.
they are now the playground for people that can buy factory race cars. So I'll accept, that level of BMWs on there. But 23 Porsches. I think at WRL, Porsche might be the new boring.
Sure, you might be right.
Well, they're all now boring because there's only 5 cars after that. Okay. On a funner note, Rally season started. Yay! This Friday, 19 hopeless rides will attempt their trip from Mobile, Alabama, to Cedar Key, Florida, in the Lemon Southern Fried Heaps. Follow the hashtags of Lemons Rally and Lemons Rally, all one word, on Instagram. Pictures are awesome. There are 2 GM wagons, 2 Mercedes diesels.
Nice.
And NSF is racing a 1951 Chrysler Saratoga because that's what they do.
Saratoga. I don't even know what a Saratoga is.
It takes some Googling.
To Google. Yeah,
It looks like a 50s sedan. An
Well,
early
yeah, of
50s
course.
Sedan. There you go.
That's
Like,
what
well,
it is.
and because it was a Chrysler, like a high-end sedan, something that people aspired to in 1951. So
After you bought your Plymouth and your DeSoto, that you can go to the Chrysler.
now in Chrissy, transition.
Results.
Excellent. Lucky Dog opened their Southern Cup Series at Carolina Motorsports Park Saturday. The top 3 cars were all on the lead lap. Buzzed Viking was 94 seconds over our buddy Squirtin' Coronas, who just barely held off seat stealer Randy and his actual team, Flying Moose, by 12 seconds.
Wow.
And on Sunday, Darren the Cronus took the top race in a 2+5 Jesus Hour event, beating Randy's Moose by a lap. Third went to Turtle Tuned a lap back, who was the 4th place finisher on Sunday. Race bar 24th on Saturday, but 4th on Sunday, so got a lot better.
Take that, you seat stealing sucker.
Wow. Our other buddies, Garage Heroes, had an adventure. They got 2 laps in before they broke. Listen to their show to get a full recap, and then you can cry with them. They also did win the Good Dog Award and Underdog Award. They even convinced the local wrecking yard to deliver a parts car. What did they do with their $500 prize, which was I think it was a big check, which actually are very expensive. So they got everything money on a big check. They donated it and then matched that donation to the Kershaw County Food Bank and their local high school band. That's so fun.
Damn, Bill.
Aw.
What a good dude. All of them.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Chrissy.
Oh.
Listen
You got to pull your head back before you start to scream.
Because the mic just
Now it's
cuts
just
out and
echoing.
goes,
Now it's just echoing.
your mic has an Erling filter on it that goes, no, we won't break his
It
eardrums.
goes over.
No, it's because I just don't move my head or my mic.
We posted a pair of what you're working on. Since I wasn't working on it, I posted one about a railroad. Nobody cared. The only person who even responded was the Fiasco Rally on the Instagram, and they were in Utah skiing.
Oh,
So we asked that question again. And as it turns out, everyone else was using good weather to wrench.
BA Auto Repair in the Grand was prepping a Miata. We got a copy of the ad, link in our notes. It's a rust-free 2000 NB, 133,000 miles, hard dog, roll bar, etc. 9,500.
That's not bad.
Tom L was doing some wheel bearings.
Stankinator was test fitting the seat on his 2x4, on a 2x4, like a
Yep,
chunk of
that's-
wood, not
that's
a
important.
2-wheel drive truck on a
Correct.
piece of wood.
They're very different.
Scott S was doing some dirt bike nonsense.
Randy B was trying to get the adorable Dr. BCM is this little black cat to take his meds like a good kitten. And it's very cute.
Patrick L got roped in an old truck repair. Quote, when your non-mechanical friends buy a project truck, because another quote in there, you will fix it, right? End quote, end quote.
Oh, we've been there. We understand, Patrick. I'm sorry. Russell P was also wrenching on his classic pickup truck.
Alex was with Bill at CNP, making lists, breaking BMWs, and just being Alex.
Probably making drinks for everybody.
Making drinks. I saw that
Yeah.
actually.
Gentleman Dave Mills working on his trailer and somehow adding another camper to it.
It's amazing.
He's like a rolling encampment.
I
at this
haven't
point
seen
now.
this.
I haven't seen it either.
Was that on the Instagram? Does
It
anybody
was
know if
actually,
that was on-
no, he replied that out on our Facebook with a picture
Oh.
of another camper on a trailer.
I'm gonna have to go
Yo,
check.
dog,
is
I heard
amazing.
you like campers. So
Michael K was doing race car things as well as lots of stuff, but absolutely not a $1,600 Porsche 928. I am not a complete moron.
And that's a guy that races a 6-cylinder 1947 6-cylinder Camaro. Thanks for making me feel good about myself.
Yeah. Previous guest host DJ 914 was, quote, cleaning the garage and setting up his newly purchased Quick Jacks.
Which are
Actually, I think he purchased them a little while ago and he just hasn't had a chance
Yeah.
to use them.
that they're such a wonderful invention. I'm so glad we have them. They're great for endurance racing.
Hashtag they should totally sponsor us.
Yep.
Kale B was, quote, trying to make the cockpit more professional by doing exactly what Chris was doing and cleaning up non-necessary wiring in the race car.
Ethan P was transferring old bits from one race car to the new race car.
Good call. Brandon W is solving problems on a mini excavator.
3D printer guru and designer Cam L was, quote, relocating my track car's interior fuse box for better access. Because, right at turn 3, sometimes you need a change of fuse.
It's like you need to text.
Lick your finger. It'll work the iPad, right? Tyler S. and Adam N. were both dealing with serious mechanical carnage.
Joseph King was stripping interior for a cage, rusty POS farm trucks. Fixing the rusty POS farm trucks.
That's terrible. In response to last week's episode, Bill F. said, one item that I thought of that I don't think you covered was tow trailer maintenance and potential upgrade projects that you can do in a weekend. He was responding to the weekend thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Now,
repack your wheel bearings, everybody.
Yep. We are just over a month out from the end of the Survive the 25. That is 5 podcast hosts trying to lose 25 pounds, read 5 books, and then do 5 1-hour karting or iRacing events. We are in the home stretch. Jeff has told us he is no longer losing pounds, but he is still losing inches. He's having to buy belts and find new holes in there, stuff like that. And as Billy Crystal once said, it's better to look good than to feel good. And you know who you are. All right. And while Jeff, you look marvelous.
Oh, thanks.
I'm willing to bet it's also a little bit of the other way around. It's springtime. You're a busy guy. You do scouts. You got a job you love. You're wrenching. You're doing home repairs. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I have been, the one thing that I can say is I have not stopped working out and I have not really gotten off the diet. I think the diet could be more, but I have not been to the fast food restaurant. The other night, I was like, I had a very little window between when I had to be working at work and then working at home. And I called home and I said, what are we having for dinner? And the wife said, we already ate. Get something yourself. And I got a salad that was right next to my favorite Chinese food place, which I would much rather have eaten at. But I haven't taken my foot off the gas and I do feel good. The number of my exercises, the amount that I'm doing per 45 minutes is like through the roof, and yeah, whatever. It's working out for me.
How's it helping you non-racing stuff?
I don't know. I'm sleeping good. When I lose 5-10 pounds, my snoring goes away. Not goes away. Let's not get excited.
I'm
Chrissy.
not excited. I am saying that is bullshit.
I get-
that will not go away until you fix your face. Is what it is.
I don't die nearly as often per hour. I'll
That
put
is
it that way.
fantastic.
So there it is.
That's a victory right there.
Yeah.
That is a victory.
Sleeping in a giant cabin with all of the scouts and all of the dads, and everybody had a mask on, except, no, I should say that. Half the guys had a mask on, and the other half snored like freaking trains. They were like, Jeff, you weren't so bad. I was like,
not so bad.
So-
I'll
All
take it.
Wow.
And this is the big one. So for somebody that's like you, they're making these minor lifestyle changes, really noticing the difference, getting healthier. What's helped you stay on track? You're not taking your foot off the gas, which is freaking awesome. None of us are going to be Chrissy because she's a monster. But so for someone like in your position, what would you say to them that help keep you on track?
Good question. Honestly, the challenge helped. Because when I'm like going to take a day off, I go, but the challenge. So, like doing it with a group and doing it where I know I'm going to have to check in. Not that I'm like, I must win. Because if I must win, I'm obviously would be depressed by now. But to get to the end and being like, you know what? I did everything I could. That's really what I'm working on. And Netflix, I'm going to be honest. I could work out a lot more when I'm watching a good show.
What's your
Totally.
newest, latest? What's your?
I'm watching The Peacemaker, which is a HBO Go thing. It's John Cena as a superhero.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Of
Cool.
course. Of course.
Yeah, and I'm very excited because you know what's coming back on Netflix very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Chrissy
of course.
knows.
Yeah.
Of course. Yes. Drive to Survive. That's right.
Drive to Survive
yeah.
is coming soon. So
See what everybody, all the insider knowledge, not like we've watched every race and
So
every.
much drama. So
Yes,
much
we just get
drama.
the added
Oh my
drama is
gosh.
what's coming down
Yeah.
to.
we should do a preview show. Formula One season preview
That'd be
show.
great. Yeah. Well, we'll do a live watch party. I don't know. We'll figure something out.
Let's figure something out.
Mhm.
Sim racing report.
So E1R race we went to last week. We went to Road Atlanta. We had touring cars. Tyler won the first one. I don't know who won the second because I wasn't there. Good close racing though, and it's fun. Low pressure.
We'll be there next Monday. Like
join
there
us.
are every Monday.
ST43. Yep.
I'll be
Mhm.
there next Monday too. I won't be
Oh,
working.
good. Great.
I mean, I'll work during the day. I won't be working at night like I was this time.
You know who else somehow still manages to encourage people to live a healthier and better life while still making delicious cookies?
Sure.
Okay.
Chrissy's dad.
I don't know. Hi, Mom. That's where we're getting at. But I have a quick shout out because I could have put this in what you're working on, but since I saw my friend Allison this weekend, she bought me a present, which is very fun, and I will show you on the YouTubes, and you guys will see it. And it is a small package of artisan coffee
Oh,
in-
okay.
in a container that looks like an oil jug that says it's from Drive Coffee, and it has Le Mans and all your colors on it.
All my colors. I'm very
yeah.
excited.
I believe that has been advertised on the drive. That's cool. That's hella cool.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes. Well
So-
done, Allison.
Yeah. It's pretty
All right.
awesome.
Good.
I want the can.
I
When
know.
you're done
No,
the coffee.
I'm
I
not
want the
giving.
can.
I'm not giving you the can.
Damn it.
Buy
The
your
coffee's
own
good. I'll
coffee.
order some.
Okay.
All right. Atomic time. I wrote a lot. Does someone want to do the intro
Yeah,
paragraphs?
this is your idea. You open
Oh,
open the whole thing. Come
All
on.
right. Yeah, let's talk about mechanical sympathy and making your car last. We often say endurance racing is won and lost in the pits, but keeping the car on the track. But how do you keep that car on the track? And how do you keep it going when you just can't afford another fuel stop? Because if you
Just-
stop, you're going to lose.
One more lap.
Ask
give us one more lap.
everybody who drives a Firebird in tight pants, okay? Anyway, what about the tires? There's a lot of people out there who cannot get a full day out of their tires. I don't know what you're doing out there, but if you're on the wear bars and you need to make those banana peels hold on for just a little bit longer, or maybe you're Lamino and your car is about to break. You need to try and limp that car home
These are different problems.
and be just a little bit more gentle on that car to make it last the whole day. We have been in all of these situations, I think, except for the tires. I don't think I've ever driven a car where the tires were going away, but I will say that in extreme experience, I have definitely spent a weekend where we were on the only set of tires in the state and they needed to last all weekend and we had to pull it back another notch or two. So that's what we're talking about. Does anybody want to open up with anything before I keep going?
I've had to go out there on cold hard tires and make them laugh to the end of a race. In fact, I did it 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
Great.
you don't have to go up 30 seconds a lap or drive like grandma to really conserve these things. So we made some tips and tricks to help you keep that car going or keep that track going while keeping your lap times competitive. I guess
You're
I'm
gonna
going
talk about- start
ahead.
off with saving fuel, because there's all times we need to save fuel. Like when I call on the radio, hey Jeff, You're down to a third of it. Or you have an hour left, Jeff. No, doing
And
great.
I'm like, I'm
Oh,
on
no.
E.
He's
What do you
like,
mean I have an hour
"No."
left?
I think it was like an
Oh,
hour and a
boy.
half. It was like a long time.
It was a long time. I thought my
Yes.
shift was over and it wasn't.
No. Mm-mm.
Should I talk about lift and coast, or does anybody want to jump in here?
Yeah.
Lift and
Go
coast.
ahead.
So this is actually, I watched a YouTube article and I read an article by engineers, actual engineers who were, and professional drivers who were talking about this lift and coast method. And I realized that I actually do this without knowing that it was saving fuel when I'm trying to save fuel. And they broke it all down and they drew charts and things. And I was like, this is a show, everybody. We should do this. And they all went, yeah, Jeff, you should do that. So here it is. Lift and coast. Let's say you need to cool the brakes or you need to save some fuel. You can do this focused lift and coast method to be on the throttle less around the racetrack, okay, but not lose a lot of time. Have you ever driven a Miata where you needed to conserve all that energy because you didn't have any horsepower? Concept is the same, okay? In different parts of the track, by using maintenance throttle where you might be full throttle at some other parts and maybe some partial lifts and some early lifts and changing your brake technique, you can conserve the kinetic energy to get around the track. Lift early, brake later is the like one sentence summary. All right. Now, let me tell you what they said in this, basically this very long, and I will put the link in there. But if you lost 10% of your speed on the last 10% of the straight by lifting or using a maintenance throttle, that is way better than slowly rolling the throttle or waiting to get on the throttle during a straight, because you know that at your acceleration down the straight is cumulative. So where they're suggesting that you save the fuel is at the end of a straight, not at the beginning of the straight. All right. So if you go slow on the throttle, you hurt your speed down the entire straight. I just said that. But if you lift and coast, it hurts you a lot less. You can brake less if you need to conserve both brake and fuel. If you're coming into that one turn, turn one, it's probably on most tracks. If you're not at 110, you're at 90, you can use your brakes less, and that'll cool your brakes. Obviously, if you lift for that last 10%, you're going to save a lot more fuel. Why? Because physics dictates that it takes way more energy to get your car from 100 to 120 than it does to get from 50 to 70, right? 20-mile-per-hour difference on one end of the spectrum versus the other end of the spectrum. And yes, you all know why. It's the air drag. It's the way that the car, it's the RPMs. It's where the torque band is.
Well, I would say also what you just said about momentum. At over 100, I've got momentum in my favor. When I'm trying to move from 50 to 70, I'm battling momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you lift and you coast, or again, partial lift or maintenance throttle, if you're at 100, you're not going to slow down that much. So the curve, and we've done this before. Chris has laid over his laps and my laps, and he says all the time, Jeff, you're not keeping the throttle down as long as you can into that straight. I could see you coming off of it early. Well, this guy is suggesting that that's what you do to save some fuel. Come off a little early. So anyway, let's get this different.
And
down
yet you
here.
still use more fuel.
Well,
I
I
don't
do
know.
when
I
I'm
use a lot.
driving like an idiot.
Yeah.
When I'm going all out. And that's really what we're talking about here. When you don't have to go all out. How
Or
to
you
save.
can't.
Or you can't.
Yeah.
How to save fuel. So quick math. This is rounded. Donnie's going to be pissed. I don't care. The straight at NJMP is half a mile long. If you changed and coasted in the last 500 feet, that's a tenth of the straight by 20 miles per hour. It would take you 20 laps to lose 6 seconds. I did the math. All right. But how much fuel would you be saving by just maintenance throttling or coasting or just not keeping the hammer down? So what we're saying is do the turn as hard as you can going onto the straight. Hit the throttle to the floor as early as you can. It's at the end of the straight where you just come off, or you maintenance, or you coast. Real quick, I'll do the math and then I'll pass it on. 1 mile at 120 is 30 seconds. 1 mile at 100, 36 seconds. 20 laps, changing just the last 10% of the half mile straight by 20 miles per hour. I think I'm in the ballpark. Engineers, prove me wrong. Depending on the car, you could save a lot of fuel or brake just by changing a little. That's my soliloquy.
I like that you didn't say what you wrote. You said engine nerds. Just saying.
I did say engine nerds.
You didn't say it. You typed that.
You're right. I typed engine nerds and engineers. I've bashed engineers a lot here, and Bill will probably do. Bill can probably tell me the physics. He knows the physics.
Smart guy.
He's a wicked smart guy. Yes, but yeah,
He is an engineer. He's a chemist. He's an
Ceramist.
engineer.
he's a ceramist, and that's how he can hold
That's
his
a
end of it.
form of chemistry.
That's
anyway.
why he can hold up his end of a conversation like a normal person.
Yeah. True.
All right.
True.
I'm gonna agree with you, Jeff. And I've just got some other reasons though too. So when
right.
you're accelerating out of a corner, you're getting up to speed. When you're right, it's cumulative. If you get 10 miles an hour earlier, more speed earlier, you carry it the entire length of the straight. So yes, the time to let off is at the end. It's also, think about the time that it takes. The time that it takes you to accelerate from 50 to 70 in seconds is similar to the time it takes you to accelerate from 100 to 105. So think about your fuel burn rate in gallons per hour flowing through the injectors, or cc per minute. That's how injectors are rated. If you have that 10 seconds of full injector flow, is it buying you 5 miles an hour of speed or 20 miles an hour of speed? Use it where it's the most effective, and don't use it as much where it's not getting you as much benefit. Not only is it not getting as much benefit in speed of actual miles per hour, but you don't get to have that speed for very long.
No, that's absolutely it.
Yep.
You're only traveling at 120 for that microsecond before you're on the brakes.
Right. And modern fuel injected cars too, most of them, when you have the throttle plate fully closed and TPS says 0 or less than 10, whatever it is, a lot of them will actually shut off the fuel injectors. So no fuel goes through them. So not just less, but 0, because it doesn't need any fuel because you're coasting. It's fine. And as soon as you get back on the throttle, it kicks the injectors back on. So full release, absolutely no fuel being used. I'll add another one for the fuel thing too. Use a lot more half throttle. Like I've done, many laps in the Mazda at Thompson, for example, only using half throttle on purpose, and I was only like a second and a half or 2 seconds slower. I was doing all the things you said too. Maximize your corner speed, get everything out of it, but then just don't use all of the gas. Use it a bit coming out of the corner, come off of it, and half throttle. You're still getting a fair amount of power. Like you're still moving, just not as much.
And this is why every driving instructor, including all 4 faces on the screen, tell people get a Miata so that you learn energy management.
Yeah. And I've got one last one on the fuel thing too. Stay 1 gear higher.
I love this. I do this this is how, when you tell me to save fuel, this is what I do.
Yeah. Because the
But torque though.
I know.
But torque.
Well, but you've got torque, and if you got a torquey motor, it's got the torque in the mid range. But if this was demonstrated to us clearly once when we lost 3rd gear in the boat. And we just got up to speed. No, we lost the clutch. Sorry, we lost the clutch. All we could just we could get it, pump it up just enough to get moving from the start, and then it was just get it to 4th and leave it there. We were only 2 seconds slower on our best laps, but then we went to fill it up, and we're using like, all right, 4 cans. We put in like 2.5, and it spit it back out. We're like, what the hell? What's wrong with this thing? Like something's wrong here. This ain't right. No, it just,
and that was a twisty course. That was Shenandoah at Summit Point.
Yeah. So you're maximizing your speed, but the injectors fire based on cylinder revolutions and RPMs. So if your RPMs are 1,000 RPM lower, your injectors are firing significantly less. So using a lot less fuel.
And we were going to touch on this in a bit, but it also goes into going one gear higher. You then take away if you've got a turbo or a torquey motor, or anything like that, you take away the tendency to solve your mistakes with the accelerator pedal. And it forces you to go back to being smooth with your inputs, smooth on your line, smooth with where you are in the corner. And that results in not losing a lot of speed, but greatly reducing your consumables. And I was going to tell the story, makes you focus on being smooth. And Ross Bentley had this happen to him at Daytona. He lost most of the transmission. He only had 2 gears. And by the end of his stint, he was within 2 seconds of his fastest time because it forced him to pull back and go back to that basic racecraft rather than fixing the problem with acceleration.
Meds, I'm so there with you. When we were trying to win and I was trying to go as fast as possible, what I lost was the smoothness. And when I had the terrible shift where I burnt all the gas, when I reset, I was a better driver.
And not really any slower.
No. What is it? The law of diminishing returns?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Doing everything right, doing 90% right is way closer to 100 than 80%.
And a smooth line through all the corners is going to make you faster than your accelerator pedal.
And every bit of speed you don't give up, you don't have to burn gas to get back.
Or, as Jeff alluded to at the beginning, brakes, because I have found myself way too often as a guest driver in somebody's car in a car with no brakes.
We should talk about conserving brakes.
Chrissy, you had something to say?
I think I drive like this. I think I do this, and I think that's why I don't use so much gas. I have been trying to think about this topic, and I'm not saying that I should. I always say about my own driving that I should be braking later, but I think that I might be coasting a little bit longer, and that this is why I am pretty good on gas.
And brakes and tires and traffic management, and you always come in 3 spots above where you started.
Not always, but I try. Yep, that's what I was going to say.
I really think you do work this in when you're in a lot of traffic. I know that I'm constantly doing the math of like that guy in front of me. I am not going to pass them before the turn. So I can come off the throttle now and just not brake. And when he brakes in the turn, I can brake later because I really only want to be behind him at the apex. So traffic management to me, I think, is why I started doing this. But it's better when, it has become a fuel-saving technique, or it should become my new fuel-saving technique now that I have watched these YouTube or, read these articles.
Because what's the point on hauling ass right behind somebody?
Exactly.
3/4 of the way down the straight, when you're not going to get the pass done in the braking zone and you want to get it on the way out, why waste that fuel to get up there just to brake harder?
Because now you're using gas and brakes. These videos that Jeff was referencing are in our show notes, by the way.
Good.
Cool.
And they both use iRacing. One is a professional driver and one is an engineer, because iRacing obviously is very repeatable. But it's all based on real physics. So.
Okay. Let's talk about tires.
Fuel. Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris. Talk about tires.
All right. To make your tires last, obviously you want to get the right tires and have them working in the right heat ranges, because when you overheat them, that's when they start to chunk up. And so, and the right pressures, and not have a wacky alignment that's just tearing them apart. But essentially, tire wear comes down to sliding and heat. So heat is solved with basically pressures and driving and size and things like that. and somewhat alignment. And sliding it is involving alignment that could be way off. Basically, you're dragging your tire sideways. And the other thing is you causing it by too much slip angle, usually caused by overdriving. And we've all felt the feeling of when you're coming around a corner and you start to understeer a little bit and you just want a little more and you just keep turning the wheel and you feel that difference in the wheel from I'm happy tire, gripping the corner, going around the corner to grinding. You feel the grinding. You know you're not going any faster or any tighter of a corner, but all you were doing is sliding that tire around that corner and wiping off the tread.
You're
So,
angrier.
yeah.
You could turn.
Yeah. We've all done it. We're all going to do it again.
We're talking about understeer, that grindy understeer feeling that you get when you're like, the steering wheel is turned and I'm not turning the car.
Yeah. That's just wiping your tires off every time. And you can, you all know where that transition is. There's that spot. And sometimes you know when you're getting close because you can start to feel it. And then you really know when you've gone over it. And then some people just keep going and just have terrible slip angles through
we have all kept going to get around that guy, and we knew that we were using some tire because we needed to because we couldn't get there. But that should not be what you're doing all the time.
Yeah, some people it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Drive like that all the time.
Yeah.
You watch them go through corners. You're like, look at this asshole. What is he doing?
No.
and then you pass them on the straightaway again because they've schooled up their tires. When I'm doing instructing and I see that happening, which is like as Chris said, we all do it, and I'm no better than anyone else. But as an instructor looking over, the feedback is whenever you are adding more steering input than the car is turning. So the car is going at this angle and you've had enough steering input to try and make it go to this angle and it's not turning. So you answer that by adding more steering. You have exceeded the limits of grip, come off the gas, back out of the steering. It's counterintuitive, but that's what you have to do. And that's that Zen, good Christian, holistic kind of,
yeah,
I'm in the car.
It's a great point, Mental. Instead of turning the wheel more, ease off the throttle to move some weight forward because those front tires aren't going to grip anymore if you keep turning them more. Get some more weight on them. It doesn't take much. Like you probably don't need that much more steering to that corner. Off the gas for a second, get some weight on that front tire. It bites, maybe the back rotates out. Then you get back on the gas and you've got all the rotation you need. I think this also applies for rear drive cars on the rear tires. When you're just being a little exuberant with that throttle, just because you're having a good time or you're super excited or you're super angry and the back end just takes a set about this far off, just enough that you're going through a corner with your front wheels pointed straight, but you're still going around the corner. And it feels awesome when you do it right. It's so cool.
Once,
you're pinky out,
right?
When you do it once,
like
maybe they do not do that again.
Even a dab of oppo, just like man,
Been there.
Look at I am a driving god. Yeah, and you're just wiping your rear tires off. So when you might do it the once. Good for you.
Yep.
You had a good time. Next
Don't
time,
do it again.
A little later on the gas, or a little less gas, because that was a little too much. It looked cool. He made you survive.
As long as you actually survived and didn't go off, didn't hit anybody. I mean, it was fun.
Didn't do a tank slapper into a wall.
Or just a tank slapper in general.
Or you look at the rearview mirror and go, "What's all that smoke coming from?" Oh, yeah, tires.
Yeah.
Shoot.
That is a great way to get everyone behind you to get on the brakes and give you a little room. Though.
I don't think let's not do that.
That's not an approved driving technique. But
No.
it does lead into the next topic, which is we're talking about brakes, even though this one is spelled like the thing you took at your high school job. And I've told the story at the track at least a dozen times.
Autocorrect. It's stupid.
Yeah, I know. Stupid autocorrect. Is I was in that the Florida Man Racing Mustang and was having a great time dicing it out with Dr. Mary, Dr. Mom, and came into Charlotte's Web at Barber, downshifted, go to, clutch, brake to rev, and the brake pedal goes right to the floor because there were no brakes left. So immediately I grabbed one lower gear that I had to tap the clutch, just to try and, get it to engine brake a little bit, and finally just dump the clutch before I went off the road, cocked the entire car sideways, and suddenly no one was wanted to race close with me or at all.
No.
Everyone gave me a great and wide berth because I had no brakes.
And we're not just talking about your old Boxster, right?
No, that was deliberate overheating because I was overdriving the car, exactly like they said. Now, so I was running DOT4 instead of DOT5. But this one, the fluid had all come out of the car. It was literally the last shift of the day, and the car had a hard weekend. So I ended up spending the rest of the track, and then the same thing happened as well in the Omega at Buttonwillow a year later. So but in both situations, rather than trying to solve problems by aggressive steering, or rather than trying to solve problems with aggressive throttle, everyone in the car had been solving problems with aggressive brakes, when it would have been smarter to come into the corner a little bit slower, maybe start braking a little bit sooner, keep those brakes nice and cool, because much like tires, when you start overheating your brake pads, you're going to start expediting the material is going off at a higher rate. Chrissy.
I was just thinking about that. What you just said comes back to your first line of everybody should drive a Miata, because you do that more if you're not reliant on high horsepower to get you out of the corner.
Absolutely.
Because
I don't want to touch the brake.
I feel like we're all doing.
Take me 4 laps. I don't want to. Don't make me slow down.
I think, one of the things that we could talk about here is, you can trade system for system if you're really trying to save one versus the other.
Totally.
Like
And
you
sometimes
could
end up doing it on purpose.
Absolutely. If your brakes are going out, hit the brakes less, turn harder. It's going to cost you more tire, but it could save those brakes.
And if you have more tires and brakes left at that moment,
this is when a radio's good. Hey, what do we have left? Can somebody go out and get some Wagner quiet stops, because we're going to need them tonight. Thanks. Hey, is anybody at the store?
Jeff mentioned extreme experience. I remember having to drive the lead car, and it was a rented Chevy or Camaro SS, and we ran it out of brakes. And so the mechanic came over and said, "You got no brakes. This car still has to get back to Chicago." So then I started swapping it for tires.
Yeah.
And then he comes to me and goes, "You got no tires. This car has to get back to Chicago." And then I shifted the failure point to a transmission, which at this point we had a bachelor party. It was the last hour of the day. And as it often happens, all of the drivers are getting really, really fast. And I'm trying to stay in front of a 458 Italia with a Camaro Super Sport. So then we watched the transmission temperature start to rise more and more and more. And then the last couple of sessions, while they would swap out the drivers, I would take the car on a cool down lap to try and get the transmission to cool off, because I was swapping system for system for system. I'm sorry. No, that wasn't a rental car. Why? No, that was a privately owned vehicle. Hertz.
It was owned by my friend, my cousin, Fred Hertz.
Jojo.
But so we talk about trading systems for other systems, and this is, you know what? I got a fresh set of tires, and they've been doing great all day. We're out of brakes. We got to do this. We got to do that. And those are your 3 systems: your fuel, your brakes, and your tires. But we've got mechanical sympathy to other systems, and I feel like our chief mechanic engineer guy can speak to this very smartly.
What? That guy.
Mostly, don't be a jerk
Yeah.
and stop the red mist. Wipe that out of your face. Things like shifting like you're drag racing your Talon.
Which no one did more than
One
once
goat.
ever, even when they were new.
Oh,
Go.
it's not just you.
It's not, no, we have had to break a number of people that they get in, they're all amped up and they go to shift and they go bang in the shifter.
I was like,
What are you doing?
I happen to be
Stop it.
sitting right seat then. I was like, that's going to come off in your hand, and you can't do that. Like, don't.
So you
Don't
don't
do
need to shift you need 3 fingers.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
3 fingers is all
Mhm.
you need to shift. If you feel as though you must shift with more than 3 fingers, you are doing it too aggressively. And we're trying to make the trans last. I don't want to replace the trans at the track. I don't want to do it at home either. How about make the damn thing last?
No.
And the
I-
biggest way you can
No.
do that is don't shock load it, and
Mhm,
don't
mhm,
and
mhm.
and so that's we don't really do that because we're road racing, but and shift it gently. Like if you're going to do a downshift, instead of just bang it in there, no, just give it a second for the synchro to work. Go in. It doesn't take long. We're talking half of a second difference makes all the difference in the world.
A comma between
Yeah.
actions.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
I like that. Comma between actions. Very
Mhm,
nice.
mhm.
And more on the don't you be a jerk thing. Don't bang the car off the rev limiter. If you're getting close to it, just ease off. We'd already talked about coasting. What is that extra 200, 300 RPM going to get you?
But
Nothing.
not so low that you are not in VTEC, yo.
Yeah, yes. Well, there's a
No,
difference.
no. There's some times where I've like not brought it up to the light. You have to be in a zone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
But you have
Go
to be
up
in
to
a zone.
the right point where
Yes.
you have all decided this is the correct point to shift the car.
That's good.
And then depending on who setting up your control system, it depends on where they put the limiter. And then but like don't do that. You don't need to, right? And like, or if you're coming along the straight, that you're not gonna make it. You're gonna end up riding the limiter, coast for a bit, or go into that next higher gear just for a little bit because you're gonna have to shift down anyway. So it's not really that much. It's not 2 extra shifts. It's just 1. So give it a second there.
And
Yeah,
even in
don't-
braking, the difference between 80% braking and threshold braking in a car that is falling apart is we talk about the pressure. I'm making, for those of you
pressure curve.
listening,
Pressure
I'm
versus
making
time. Yes.
arches with my finger.
Bell curve.
Like
bell curve.
bell curve. The difference
But
between
that's not the best brake curve though.
but the difference between slamming hard and the correct firmness makes a difference.
But don't do it twice.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
That's bad.
I know, right? No, I know. I mean, this is the game that you play, and this is why you have to do it well.
Again, we're talking about conserving brakes. If you're overheating your brakes,
Well, we're talking about the across the board, everything on the
Yeah.
car.
I get 2 more quick things. One is pay a little bit of attention to the car. Does something feel wrong? Does something smell wrong that stays with you for a while?
That's
Not- 'cause
the
everyone-
worst.
Well, you always have a smell that you're like, yeah, that's definitely
me?
brakes or clutch. Oh,
Is it me?
That's coolant. Whatever it is.
Okay.
And
it's one
usually,
thing-
wait, no,
Worst.
it's totally that car's clutch. Oh, that'll
yeah.
be fun.
Yeah.
and if it lasts for more than a couple laps, it might be you. So just pay attention to the sights, sounds, and smells of your car. And if something's going wrong, if you're not battling for the lead, back off a second, see what's up. And this also includes gauges. When you're paying attention to your car, pay attention to whatever gauges or idiot lights you have. They're there for a reason. Respect those. Know where the limits are and respect those limits. Mental.
And I would say, and Chrissy mentioned this, having a radio. Hey, it's doing this. Is that normal?
Chris
It's
hates
doing-
when I get on the radio. Hey, I
he
think
hates
there's
it.
something wrong.
He hates it when I do too, because
I know.
I've broken the car so many times that I have like a complex about
I just
it.
ask stupid questions.
And it's CMP with Hamps's BMW. I'm like, it's wobbling under brakes, and finally he just goes, "'Cause you're not braking hard enough, dear God." And so, but
That was a trick of that car. But yeah.
right. But we solved that conversation with the problem or whether we solved that problem with a conversation.
Yep.
And I just,
Yes.
I went a hair deeper in there and just a hair and it went away. But
Mm.
if you've got a radio and you've got someone who built that car, ask early and ask often, even though it's going to annoy them. What's really going to annoy them is you breaking their car when you
Totally.
could have made a radio call and said, is this
Yes.
bad?
That's the right
And they
answer.
would have went, dear God, yes, it's bad. Shut it off. As opposed to, for the fourth time, it's fine. Keep going.
Yeah. It's true. It's absolutely true. Yep. He can
Last
be
one I got
mad.
for this. Yeah.
Good.
Stop hitting the curbs and the ditches.
I was going to add this. I was
Stop
absolutely
it.
going to add this.
Stop it.
100%.
Yes.
It's not making you any faster, despite you see Lewis Hamilton do it running over the sausage curbs. You know what? It breaks his car too, but he's got a
it's
bunch
true.
of people
And
he
a lot
pays
of
to
money
fix it,
and
a lot of, like, every
Millions
time.
and millions of dollars.
Stop hitting the curbs, and especially when the other people have run over that curb so much that there's a big ass ditch and a drop off on the outside. That's the car breaker. Stop it.
Mhm.
And even
won't
if
have
you're
to
doing
replace-
well, all of those things make it so that if you do it enough, then you are off and then you're not winning. And then
And then
it
right,
was
now
useless.
you're replacing wheel bearings,
Yes.
ball joints, control arms, bushings, hubs are going to crack, wheels are going to fall off, wheels are going to crack, tires are going to blow. Stop it. Don't hit curbs. That's you're
But
unless
when you are
actually winning by like or in the lead by like leading by 1.2 seconds, fine, use the damn curb. Aside from that,
There are 1 or 2 or 3 corners at some tracks that like going on to the straight at New Jersey. There is a curbing that if you use the end of it, there are some curbs that you can use
Oh, sure.
safely.
those are friendly curbs.
Friendly
curbs are
curbs.
saying friendly
But
curbs,
you,
yeah.
as a team, should identify which curbs are acceptable and which ones are not.
Friendly curbs really aren't. The curbs that I'm talking about are the ones that actually notably move the car around.
I
And
Jarring.
really, especially the ditches on the outsides
Mhm,
of the
mhm, mhm.
curbing when people go, those are the worst because they're
Mhm.
not designed to be run over and they're usually big.
And all of that is easy to lift off before you
Yeah.
get there. Brake if you have to
Yeah.
before you're going there.
Because even oil pans. It's like I'm actually worried about the oil pan in the new Civic. It is 3 inches off the ground in the highest setting. That's all we got. It's like someone goes over a curb wrong. There's a hole in the oil pan. It's the lowest thing in the car.
And I'm
So-
sure an oil pan is not a problem.
No, and everyone will be really excited when you leak these 7 quarts
That's
of
what I
oil
was
that
gonna
car
say.
holds. Yeah.
And I think young Chris Egan, who's not so young anymore, can tell us all about how much the entire paddock will hate you when you oil down the entire track.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So don't be a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. It's
You
mechanical.
might not
stupidity.
realize that you're a jerk. You might have to have your team tell you that you're being a jerk.
Mm.
So you need to accept that feedback.
That's that's what's good about video. So I mentioned radio, but a video and having it so that it is available, even if it's after the race, then you identify. It makes me think of when Aaron drove with one hand. That you pick up these habits, you pick up other people's habits, but driving styles maybe when you have video that you can review. So not necessarily live streaming or anything like that, but it's helpful sometimes
Jeff,
to be able to
look at you
identify.
bouncing off the rev limiter. No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were.
Yes, you are.
Yep.
Yeah. All this will make your weekend so much better if you don't have these problems, or potentially can make them a little better by doing these things.
I like it.
Awesome.
Good list.
Do we have anything else on this list? Because I have an around the horn that I want to get to.
Let's do it.
Around the horn on the spot question.
Okay.
Around the horn. I want us all to tell a story, an embarrassing story, when we did not follow the lessons that we just talked about. When we did something wrong and we went, oh, shnikes, that was bad. I just might have hurt the car, or I put myself in a position where I just used all the fuel or all the brakes or all the tires. I have one and I can start. turn 1, Connecticut, trying to win. This is an unfriendly curb. And I was doing my best to brake as late as possible and to use as much throttle as possible. And when you do that, you end up on the outside where there is a giant ditch. And I hit that thing so hard once, and I bent the splitter of the Civic. Chris knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Didn't bend it, you broke it in multiple places.
We were trying to win, and I got out of my comfort zone because I was trying to win, and I absolutely just harshed the car. And I'm going to say, I knew I was out of shape. I knew I was going to go off. And when it banged, it was so loud. I was like, oh my God, what did I, like, it jarred my teeth.
It's because the metal plates that held the
Were like quarter-inch thick.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole
And they
thing was
attached to the
quarter-inch thick.
frame rail,
Yeah,
so-
yeah.
Yeah. You jarred the whole car and your teeth.
Jarred my ass, exactly. It completely embarrassing. The second I did it, I was like, oh my God, what an asshole I am. I knew it immediately. Round the horn. Who else did something?
The one that I'm coming to mind with, it ended up with a good result, but almost didn't. I don't know if I could have done
I
it
should
differently.
mention, we had a good result. We won the race.
That was a different race, but
Oh,
okay. The one you're talking
It was
about.
much
the one-
earlier. Yeah.
the one I'm talking about, we did win the race,
Oh.
is how much gas I burned through dealing with silly nannies in the Civic. Like I just sucked down the gas because the only way to, like, I'd have to repass the Z to get him to, like, not slow us down everywhere. So I was having to just drive that last 5% that you don't want to, but I had to get back in front of him so he wouldn't block me at every single car that we passed. And by doing it, we sucked down all of the gas. And if I
had to
we
do
didn't
that-
have to-
We were there.
Yeah,
Flash and dash, yeah.
if we didn't
I-
have to make that last flash and dash, it would have been a much easier race, and it only worked out because of a very unusual set of circumstances. Did it work out? But I don't know that I would have been able to be that far ahead if I hadn't been driving that hard. But man, that made it much harder, and I probably could have done differently.
And I don't want to say bit us, but it almost cost us again because Johnson's Toyota was able to run up on us, and we started out way ahead of them, and they were doing everything right. They were driving smooth. They were being smart. And they're good drivers. Yeah, at least the black car is. And and they were until the finish line breathing down our necks.
Yep.
So there's something to be said about that one.
Who else got a story?
I can go.
Go ahead.
I was waiting for mental. I said go. Oh,
No, sorry.
So I think the couple that come to mind are overdriving the Rolls and the Citroen. I think I remember in New Hampshire, that might have been where we won IOE with the Rolls, that I was down the straight, really excited to go down the straight because it was okay going down the straight, but then you couldn't brake at the end of the straight. I think I wanted to get racy with these cars, and every once in a while you go around corners and you'd be like, oh, that felt so good. Oh, nobody's around. Let me go actually take these apexes. And then I don't think I have a detrimental story about what those were, but both had parts that I knew that I shouldn't be using. So I guess actually this is all of these things. I was using brakes that both cars didn't have. We
did
didn't
not have any
So
brakes.
if you
for
get
any of those
racy
cars.
and you decided to brake twice, then I get in trouble. And I know that there were multiple times in a stint that you say like, oh, that was fun. Oh, wait, now I have to brake again. Oh, wait, there's somebody there. Oh, I used the brakes twice. Now I can't anymore. It's this constant inner dialogue.
That was the Rolls. That was the Rolls.
It was the Rolls. Well,
Yeah.
but we knew that it wasn't easy to get new brakes in the Citroen.
No, we
No.
didn't have any.
Right.
backups.
So,
With the Rolls, we had cooked the brakes so many times
oh yeah.
from people.
Oh,
I
yeah.
only used them twice that lap. twice
Mhm.
is too much. Now
Twice
we're
is-
I know.
spraying,
I
now
know.
you're spraying water at them through the wheel
But
to cool them off.
I'm that guy. I know that I'm sure I know both of you did. I know both of you did that. I know because I got out of the car and I would spray it, or we did the temp check. Anytime somebody would be out, be like 400, 300, and then 0 because the one back
The one wheel didn't
one
work.
wheel didn't work. So yeah, so mine is absolutely because I overdrove both cars because driving anything at all in an IOE car was not acceptable. That's
The
fine.
the Citroen was tough because it had capabilities. Like it was tough to kind of control yourself because you're like, you know what, I could go faster.
Mm-hmm.
The Rolls Royce was just a death mobile. I did not want to go any faster whatsoever. I was just, please don't die.
But when traffic is coming by you, I'm like, I want to raise.
No,
Go
I had,
over
never, I
there.
had none of that in the
Okay.
Rolls Royce at all. I did my fastest lap when it was full course yellow.
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
Taking all the apexes. Look at me.
Right.
I know. I'm like, this is so much fun. God, mental.
I think the first time I drove the swapped Civic, and I want to say it was at New Jersey, we were still working on the cooling situation. And all that power got very addictive very quickly. And then I was out of the habit of looking at the temperature gauge and then look over at it and go, oh, okay.
Oh, that's hot.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
boy.
not good. We'll be taking this next lap in 5th. And I was really, really worried because I think I did it like twice where it got like over into, danger zone area. And I was like, oh God, please don't blow a head gasket or do something. And then it ate an axle. So I probably wasn't helping with that one either, but it was just, it was very
Oh,
tempted.
yes, that New Jersey.
It was very
Yeah.
tempted to take that thing to the red line. And then if like, don't be a jerk and don't, don't over rev the engine. But if I wanted to get through somebody, because I knew we were faster and, we had this new sonic, psychological weapon with the VTEC swap Civic of, I'm back here, move. Yeah. 3-pedal mafia loser. And then, well, way too hot. And then they pass me again because I'm doing the whole course in 5th now. And then red mist would settle back in. So yeah, I don't think I overheated it, but I got damn close like 3 times in one session.
That Sirocco
Yeah.
radiator is not enough for that car.
Yeah.
At all.
And you warned me, got the brief before the race started. Hey guys, blah, 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 and nope, I must win.
And then we didn't make it through Saturday.
That's why I have temp controls on the ECU now. It gets to a certain point, the ECU
Yeah.
goes, nope.
You know, it's fun. Almost
What's fun?
everything. When we had like going back to the break episode and this episode, everything comes down to heat.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, putting too much heat into a tire, putting too much heat into a brakes, or that when you're driving at that 10/10ths, you're putting too much heat through the engine. Heat management is probably more important to an endurance race car than anything else.
Yep. So I put
Yep.
coolers on pretty much everything.
Facts. Oh, well, I feel like we're stretching this one out. We should probably go ahead and put a bow on this one.
Yeah.
I think
That's
so.
a great show.
As Mike Rowe would say, land the plane.
Totally.
Do we have any idea what we're doing next week?
We will on Wednesday of next week.
That right.
That's about right. Well, then I want to say thank you for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Even if you hated us, give us 5 stars and tell us why. If you're watching on YouTube, talk to us on the doodly-doo down there. Get some comments, hit the like, smash, all that good stuff. Likes, supposedly, are what's making people see videos today. So hit that like button. You can email us. You can drop us a comment on our Facebook page, everyone.racers@gmail.com. Facebook page, Everyone Racers. Instagram, we're everywhere as Everyone Racers. You could text us, 484-243-0455. We're even on Reddit /E1R. That's it. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the entire car off of those unfriendly curbs no matter what you're doing. And just keep those wheels down. Hit the stop button, Mental. It's not letting me hit it.